I think Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn will have at least 2 more years.
Did you realize that you are a champion in their eyes?
Subscribe to the members of ISN.
What's going on, guys? My name is Derek, and this is the Gridiron Blitz. Be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell because we talk all things football, and you don't want to miss another video. In this video, I want to talk about why I think Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn will have at least 2 more years as head coach and general manager of the Detroit Lions. The previous 2 coaches before Matt Patricia were Coach Jim Caldwell and Coach Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz coached from 2009, which was Matthew Stafford's first year, and the year directly after the 0-16 year, 2009 to 2013. When Jim Schwartz took over after the 2008 season, he had a lot of things weighing on him. The Detroit Lions were coming off of the first team in NFL history to go winless in a season, and also that same year, they drafted Matthew Stafford first overall. Jim Schwartz wasn't a terrible coach, and he took us to the playoffs one time in 2011 where we got beat pretty handily by the New Orleans Saints. Then we move on to Coach Jim Caldwell, who is coming over from the Indianapolis Colts after taking over for Tony Dungy, and he wind up taking and winning a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning with the Indianapolis Colts. As you guys know, if you watched my channel before, I was a huge fan of Jim Caldwell. The players really liked him too. But the thing against Jim Caldwell is while he was a player's coach, he just couldn't win the games that mattered. He went 1-10 against playoff teams. You can say what you want about Jim Caldwell, but he took us to the playoffs 2 times, with his best record coming his second year where he led the Detroit Lions to a 11-5 record. A lot of people would say that Matthew Stafford did that, but he had to be coached as well, as did the rest of the team. And I'm not going to take that away from Jim Caldwell. Now we'll move on to the Bob Quinn era. Bob Quinn was here for 2 years with Jim Caldwell, and Coach Caldwell really wasn't his guy. He had to wait till Miss Ford was ready to let Jim Caldwell go because he was liked not only by the players but by the staff as well and the ownership. Bob Quinn then brings in Matt Patricia, and this gets me to my point of the video. Why do I believe that Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn will have 2 more years at least in order to change the culture and really show what they're capable of? One reason is because the last 2 coaches combined have been here for about 9 years. 5 with Jim Schwartz and 4 with Coach Caldwell. You get rid of a guy that was winning to bring in a guy that was unproven because he was your guy. So that guy then in turn brings in his guys. Now, here's the point that I'm getting to. Matthew Stafford has been the Detroit Lions quarterback for the last 10 or 11 seasons, and his contract is coming to an end with the Detroit Lions having an out coming up very soon after next NFL season. So not the 22 year, but the 2023 year. A few years ago, Matthew Stafford signed a contract extension that made him at the time the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. And he is nearing the conclusion of that contract extension. Now, here's the main reason why I think that Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia will have at least 2 more years to turn the Detroit Lions organization around. This coming season, Matthew Stafford has a cap hit of $21 million. Last year, he had a cap hit of $30 million. A lot of people said we were going to trade him, and that was like the dumbest thing I ever heard because of what we would have had to sacrifice in order to trade away Matthew Stafford. This coming season, his cap hit is $21 million, with the dead cap being $32 million. They didn't draft a quarterback in this year's draft, and the best we did was got David Blau last year, traded for him, and we went and signed Chase Daniel in the offseason. Here's where it gets a little tricky, but I still think that the Detroit Lions are going to stick with Matthew Stafford because they did not indeed draft a quarterback. They went and drafted one next year. This would be a perfect time to transition on from Matthew Stafford. After this season, the Lions will have a potential out in moving on from Matthew Stafford, but I still don't think they're going to do it even after this season. Next season, Matthew Stafford's cap hit is $33 million, with the dead cap being $19 million. That's a ton of money in dead cap that the Lions would have to eat if they decide to move on from Matthew Stafford even after next year. Now comes the 2023 season. If Matthew Stafford does not sign another contract extension, this is when the Detroit Lions would most likely part ways with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's cap hit is $3 million, and the dead money is also $3 million. So how does that add up? At this point, Matthew Stafford is no longer the cap hit that he was this year and next year. Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia have had 4 years and 6 years respectively to show if they are capable or not of turning this franchise around. Now, at this point, I believe this would be an ideal time that if the Detroit Lions want to move on from Matthew Stafford, why not bring in a new regime as well? Matt Patricia will then have had 4 years, which is the same amount of years that the coach had in which he replaced, and Bob Quinn will be entering year 7. I just feel that this is a prime time for the Detroit Lions organization to move on from all 3 of these individuals, barring a catastrophic event. I'm talking about 2-14 with no injuries or 0-16 again. Then Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia will be here for at least 2 more years. The Ford organization really believes that not only these guys are the guys to lead them in the future, but they've already started the transition and changing the culture. That's just my take. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. My name is Derek, and this is the Gridiron Blitz. Over 60% of the people that watch my videos for the month of June did not subscribe. We've got to do something about that. Also, make sure you check the description for the links to the Infinite Sports Network YouTube page and also our Twitter account. You can click the link and make sure to follow us on Twitter. Preseason has officially been canceled, and our first look at NFL football will be week 1, which is about 6 weeks away. We want to get an NFL season, so make sure you do your part and wear a mask, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and stay home if you don't have to go out, because I want to see you guys at the start of the season.